Hi guys, welcome to episode 20 of Techno News. Remember to hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, leave a comment, even just an emote will do for engagement on the channel. Be very much appreciated. Follow me on X, TikTok, and catch me live from around 10 o'clock PM UK time on kick.com/technofishlive. Yeah, so speaking of Kick, this week some of the creators, not so much official, but some of the creators have put out some of what they think is going to be their benchmark requirements for the first class program. So as you can see here, this is what's being put out. Currently it's being shared by individuals, but these are the benchmarks at the minute. So it's 126 CCV over for a 30-day period. Average subs, which includes gifts, which you didn't on other platforms. You need 239 monthly subs in total. Unique chatters, 337, and you need to stream for around 89 hours a month, which isn't a lot really. It's about 20 hours a week, just over, so it's doable. It's not too bad. I just need to work out how to get the viewers and the subs, but never mind, we might get there at some point. So that was sort of released in the last couple of days. I've seen it sort of floating around prior, but it's been sort of a lot more public this last couple of days and been commented on quite a bit. A lot of the smaller content creators aren't happy. It seems a bit strange though, because in this program, the first class, it did include creators who were apparently around 10 viewers, so obviously not anywhere near these criteria. Be interesting to see if they're allowed to carry on or if they've increased in the meantime or whatever. I don't know, but I'm sure when this was first announced, they were trying to make a fair hourly pay rate for every creator. I'm sure they were the words that were mentioned, possibly by Trainwreck or whoever. So it's all a bit strange how this has come about and how there suddenly seems to have been quite a hike in the benchmarks. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Obviously, all we can do is keep trying our best and progressing and hoping to one day reach those goals. You never know, it might happen. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye out on that. So that's the Kick news. There was a couple of game shows this last week. There was the Nintendo Direct. I was a bit disappointed by this, in truth. It was mostly Mario remakes. And not just Mario, there was quite a hefty amount of remakes in general, to be honest. I think about 60% of them were remakes or rehashes or remixes or whatever you want to call them. It seems to be the way of games at the minute. There's not really that many new IPs coming out. It's all just remakes of old stuff. Bit disappointing all around. I mean, I was looking forward to... I think the only games that would probably get us back on the Nintendo are some of like the old staples, the likes of F-Zero, Pilot Wings, maybe even a Star Fox. But there doesn't seem to be any real mention of them. There was an F-Zero game, which I'll touch upon a bit later on. But yeah, so, I mean, as I said, it was mostly remakes, rehashes, whatever you want to call them. The first of which was an old Game Boy Advance game, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which wasn't great then, to be honest. It's like a puzzler game where you have to traverse and collect the little toy Marios that Donkey Kong's stolen from some toy factory or something. I remember playing it years ago, but it was never really that great a game at that point, to be honest. But they decided to remake it, do the graphics up and stuff. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same levels or if they've actually bothered their arse to create new puzzles, but the game mechanics seem very similar to how it used to be. It just looks a bit prettier. But is there any need? I don't know. That was the first. The next game they announced actually looked okay, to be honest. It was a new Prince of Persia game. And it actually does look like it's a new one. It's not a remake of one of the older ones. It's called The Lost Crown. Looks very much proper old school platformer, bouncing off walls and fighting and stuff like that. Could be good. I'll be keeping an eye on that to see how that pans out. If it's a budget title, I may be tempted to give it a look, but I might wait to see if it comes on the Game Pass on the Xbox or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't look too bad, that, to be honest. As I mentioned, there was quite a few Mario remakes. The next one that I mentioned was the RPG, which I had zero interest in on this. I think it was the SNES or whatever it was at the time. I don't know. Done nothing for me at all, and Probably still won't, to be honest. It's just another remake, nicer graphics, same old shit. Another remake that they mentioned, it was a game called Trace Memory, if I remember rightly, back in the day. I think it was a DS game. That one. It was basically like a sort of puzzler where you had to solve clues and try and piece together the story. They've done a remake of the sequel to that, which didn't come out on most platforms. I think it came out on the Wii, but it never made it to America. I think it was a Japan only thing, if I remember rightly. So yeah, that's coming out. That didn't really do much for me at the time, and again, still won't. Mario theme again. We have Princess Peach Showtime, which looks bloody awful. I can see it being good for the kids or whatever, but nah, it's not doing a lot for me. Basically a platformer, but instead of Mario, your Princess Peach this time. She gets different outfits, much like Mario, with his creature outfits, to give her special abilities to do certain things. It's set in a theatre, so everything's sort of based around like theatre staging, a bit like Mario 3 was, to be honest. But yeah, it's a bit of a odd one. Again, I'll probably be giving that one a miss. Another rehash that the world could do without, in my opinion. Whether people agree with us or not, I don't know. Leave it in the comments. Tomb Raider 1 through 3. Why? Just why? Just leave them in the past. They were good games at the time. They haven't aged well. Doesn't matter how much you tart them up. I mean, look at the state of the dinosaur there, man. Fucking hell. Just leave games alone. They were good at the time. If I want to play them, I'll play them on the PlayStation. I think there's already been remasters anyhow, wasn't there? There was the anniversary or something. Just leave things in the past. Similarly, one of the names of the show that had me sort of interested was Contra, but it turns out that's a remake as well. That's not even a new Contra game. It's a remake of the old Operation Galuga. As much as I love Contra, I'm not going to pay 40 quid for a remake of an old game. I'll go back and play it on the old platforms if I wanted to. Absolute crap. Am I getting old? Is that the problem? Is it just me being old? I don't know. But I love the Contra games. The old Arnie and Sly Stallone vibes the guys give off and stuff. And the gameplay was awesome. I used to love these back in the day. They were bloody hard, but they were bloody good fun. But again, it's just another remake, so we'll have to give that one a miss. As I mentioned earlier, I sort of alluded to it, the F-Zero remake. Again, this was the game that would have got us back on the Switch if it was a proper full price F-Zero online game. It would have been awesome, but it's not. It's just a remake. It's the old game, but they've given it the old 99 player BR bullshit they did with Tetris and whatever else. It's just rehashing the old stuff. Give us a new game. Like, we've waited years for an F-Zero. It was an awesome game at the time. And again, if I wanted to play it, I'd play it on my SNES. If I wanted to play this version of it, I'd play it on the SNES. But it's included in the Nintendo online free sort of, well, if you call it free, you've got to pay for the service. But I may not give it a look, but please just give us a new game. I'm not asking a lot. Other games that were mentioned, I'm not going to sort of show videos of. There was a Bandle's Tale or something. It looked like an RPG, but it's based on the League of Legends lore. I'm not an RPG, so I'll not be looking at that, but it may interest some people. There was another WarioWare fucking motion control bullshit shovel shite on there. Dave the Diver. Not sure if they're just behind on this or if this was an expansion that's exclusive or whatever, but they've announced Dave the Diver. I'm sure that's been doing the rounds on the other consoles for months. Mario Kart DLC. More rehashed old stuff, just all characters from the old games being introduced and a couple of the new tracks. Like old tracks, new tracks, whatever. Similarly, Among Us. Again, not sure if it's the full game being late. It can't be that. Can it be? Surely it's been out so long. Or if it's just a new map DLC that they were announcing, but there was a clip of that. And again, the last big announcement from them was Paper Mario. Another Mario remake the world could do without. Another £50 game, I'm assuming, for the sake of rehashing a couple of graphics. Pointless. So that's the Nintendo side of things. Yeah, I found the whole Nintendo thing a bit strange, to be honest. I found it more of like a half step, if you know what I mean. I've got a feeling that the new system was supposed to be out at the beginning of next year. But to me, it feels like that's being pushed back. So they're trying to fill the gaps and they're just shoveling out as much sort of rehash and remakes as it can possibly fill. I could be wrong. Let us know what your thoughts are on that, but that's my take on it. Basically, I just think they've given themselves another 8-month shelf life of the Switch they weren't expecting, so they're just trying to fill the gaps. There was the PlayStation State of Play as well. There was a couple of interesting looking games on there, actually. The first of which was a game called Baby Steps. It was the first one that was on the actual announcement. Not sure if it can't really be VR, I don't think, but the movement of the guy, I mean, obviously the name's Baby Steps, so you're this weird guy who cannot walk properly, and you've got to try and plant his feet in the right place to traverse the platforms and things, so he walks like in a daft funny stompy robot-y manner. You've got to make sure his feet are in the right place and planted, otherwise he'll fall over and you've got to start again. And it did look quite amusing, to be fair, the way it was sort of portrayed on screen, and the character conversation he had with another character he ran it in, was stuff seemed quite amusing, to be honest. So yeah, as you can see here, you've got to sort of root your feet properly, otherwise you just sort of tumble. You've got to find the sturdiest route you can to get to where you need to be without sort of stepping too far or whatever. It's got funny ragdoll physics and whatever else, and it does look quite amusing, to be honest. So I might keep an eye on that. Hopefully it'll be on the PlayStation freebies at some point. So yeah, that looks quite good. Other games they announced, there was a Ghostbusters game which again got us interested, but then it turns out it's for the VR, so that will be giving it a miss. There was a Resident Evil 4 VR mode, and they announced some other, I don't know if it's DLC for the remake of that, but again it's just another remake, Resident Evil 4. Just leave games alone, like, really. There was another game announced, the Avatar, to coincide with the new movies. I wasn't sure if that was VR or not, because it did seem to go like between sort of first person and looked a bit strange the way the hands were moving and things like that. It did give off VR vibes, but I didn't really look into it, so I don't know if it is or not. Ghost Runner 2, it's already been announced, but they showed a few more clips of that. The first game of that was pretty decent, to be fair. One of the few games I did have as gripped for a while in recent months, so I may well give that a look. Helldivers 2, we've seen a bit more of that. I don't know, it seemed okay. It didn't seem as good as it did in the first instance when I saw it. I don't know if it's because the people who were playing it were fucking annoying, but if you watch the video of that from the State of Play, you'll see what I mean. They were bloody awful. Spider-Man 2, they announced quite a bit more of that, showed a bit more of the New York setting. It's 2 islands now instead of just the one borough or whatever. Could be interesting. I fancied playing the first one. I've never got round to it, but I did fancy giving it a go. Maybe I will down the line. They announced another Tales of Arise, which is a popular JRPG type game. Again, not one for me, but I know it is popular. I've had a lot of people I talked to mention them games over the years. There was talked a bit more about that Foam Stars, which looks a bit like a Splatoon rip-off. Probably going to give that a miss. There is a beta. I might give it a look on the PlayStation, I don't know. But yeah, not really for me. And lastly, they announced, or they showed a bit more of the Final Fantasy VII Part 2. Remake or rework or whatever it was called, this one. Again, never really played them. I know a lot of people are getting really hyped about that, and it's announced that it's on 2 discs. Woo! But no, not for me, sorry. So yeah, that's pretty much it that I saw. I haven't really seen much else come through, to be fair, so I just thought I'd cover them 2 shows and see what you thought. Leave your comments below, any thoughts, any games you fancy, any games you want to avoid. Leave them in the comments. Be interested in have a read and start a conversation about that. That's what this is all about for me, to be honest. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my views and get the conversation going. So yeah, that's it, guys. I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. If you did enjoy this, if you found it informative, again, please leave the thumbs up, leave a comment, generate some sort of engagement, just put a smiley or whatever you want in there. Just to try and boost it a bit and get it noticed. Remember to follow me at Technofish Live on X and on TikTok, and catch me live most nights from around 10 o'clock UK on kick.com/technofishlive. And in the meantime, I'll leave you there with a thought, and I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one. Ciao for now.